to another edition of Fight Breakdown with BoxersandBrawlers.com. And here we are in Central San Antonio at the TNT Boxing Gym, home of Ivan Nájera. JD, we got a big fight coming up this weekend. Miguel Cotto versus Daniel Geale. How do you feel about that fight?
It's going to be a good fight. I believe Cotto's going to take it to him. I'm rooting for Cotto personally. I think it's going to be a lot of the body attack is what we're going to be seeing here. And that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Cotto by late rounds. I'd say about 10th round due to an accumulation of the body work.
How do you feel about this catch weight of 157?
I think that if it's for the middleweight title, it's got to be the middleweight limit, 160. I don't agree with Cotto bringing his opponent down to 157. At that, it was said that Daniel Geale didn't look too great making that 157. At that, Cotto came in actually below the junior middleweight limit.
153.
153.6, exactly. So, as we all know, he's not a full-blown middleweight, but in this case, if you're a middleweight, let's fight for the middleweight title at 160.
So does that give Miguel Cotto an advantage in the fight? Do you think it's an unfair advantage? Or is it fair game?
I think it's an unfair advantage. Same thing that happened with Miguel Cotto versus Manny Pacquiao. Cotto said it did have some things to do in the fight with them having to come down 2 extra pounds. So he should know firsthand exactly what it does to give the advantage.
At that, Canelo Alvarez said he would never do that again when he fought Mayweather.
Exactly, and that was just 2 pounds that they asked him to come down. So I don't agree with it.
What kind of fight can we expect tomorrow night there in Barclays Center in New York City?
I think it's going to get off to a fast start. It's going to go either way up until, let's say, the first 3 or 4 rounds. After that, I see Cotto pulling away, like I said, with the body punches, putting money in the bank, and then I expect a late stoppage, maybe about the 10th round.
What does Daniel Geale have to do or not do to win the fight and ultimately become the middleweight champion?
He has to be the boxer, and he has to use his height and his reach. Now, we all know when Miguel Cotto fought Austin Trout, that was a big factor in the fight, the height advantage and the reach advantage. So as long as Geale could keep him on the outside, use the jab to his advantage, maybe land some straights in there, I think he should be fine throughout the night.
Do you think he has enough power at 40% knockout ratio to hold off somebody like Miguel Cotto's attack? Do you think, because he's been a middleweight?
Exactly, he's been a middleweight, so he is hitting on bigger opposition, which means that his power may not be as effective. Now, Cotto being that he's probably a natural welterweight, moving up to middleweight, it may just be enough to hold him off for a bit. Can he knock him out? Maybe with an accumulation of punches, but I don't see Geale having that one knockout power towards Miguel Cotto to end the fight with 1 punch.
Now, Miguel Cotto, and you and I have talked about this in the past, he has a reputation of kind of taking a lesser opponent lightly. Do you think that with his recent signing with Rock Nation, with the big contract he got, do you think it's a possibility that he may be taking Daniel Geale lightly and looking ahead to bigger and better fights such as Canelo, even Triple G?
I don't think so, especially with Roach in his corner. I don't think he's going to be cutting any corners per se in this fight. Now, he may have taken Austin Trout a little bit lightly, and look what happened there. So if that is the case, I think he's learned from his lessons, and that's something Roach I don't think was going to allow in the fight. At that, he did sign with Rock Nation, so he's got some, for a big contract at that. So he's got some points to prove there with Rock Nation.
Big fights in the horizon with Canelo Alvarez. I mean, hopefully that'll be made. We'll see what happens here on September. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night at the Barclays Center in New York City.